I'm here for Adelaide TV to interview Brad Burton, the #1 motivational speaker in the UK.
The #1 motivational business speaker.
The #1 motivational business speaker. And why are you the #1 motivational business speaker?
Because I made a fucking website that said I'm the UK's #1 motivational business speaker, and sometimes that's all you've got to do. The first person you've got to convince in anything is yourself, and that's what I did. You know, I looked at this, it's a bit like being in a nightclub and seeing a £20 note on the floor. People go, oh, while you're talking about it, I've just picked it up. Don't complain, I picked it up. So I just saw an opportunity. There was no one, if I said to you, who's the #1 motivational speaker in the UK, nobody, ask 100 people, they'd all give me a different name. So I'm saying this is wide open to go and dominate it. So yeah, I took that spot, and I get booked by the likes of JCB, NHS. I'm the keynote speaker at the biggest business show in the UK. So somewhere along the way, I've created the future.
You were saying earlier on in the conversation, because we've been chatting for about an hour actually, getting to know each other, acquainted.
Probably just as well, really. I've been walked into this bear pit with these lot.
But you said that you sell confidence. That's what it's all about, selling confidence. And would you agree with that yourself, Joel?
I do.
You do your type of thing. Oh, right. I know what you're trying to do now.
No, well, obviously with what I do, I have to try and bring out the confidence in the person that I'm working with to get the best of them when I'm photographing them. So obviously the point is to make them feel comfortable and to show them that they can do it. And usually you kind of give them a little bit of a free head start, and then they just kind of pick up the slack after that.
That's what I've got to do to myself. What you do as a photographer, bring that out to people, that's what I've got to do to myself first and foremost. I've got to get myself fired up, because if I can't fire myself up, I can't fire anyone else up.
So that's one of the, if you're one of them types of people, I feel like I've got that type of charge within myself, and I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
It's because people ask me, how do you get motivated, how do you set that fire alight? And it is I'd say it was a skill as well, and if you can show the people that skill and pass that on, that's also really satisfying. I like to do that myself.
What happened with me is I used to speak at my events, these business networking events, and I used to be speaking for like a 20-minute spot, and afterwards people would come up to me and say, oh Brad, you're so motivational, you're so inspirational, and I'd have that day in, day out, and it'd come a point where I'm thinking, why don't I become a motivational speaker? So I just sort of fell into it. But it wasn't that I'd set out to be motivational and inspirational. It was that I just naturally was always been enthusiastic and positive and optimistic about anything, even the most dangerous of situations. And I've had some pretty dangerous situations in my life, which, if I think about the worst days of my life, they made no sense. Like back in 1993, I got 2 bullets put through my window over in Manchester. And everything that was so important to me the day before was no longer important. It was now replaced with fear, and I needed to find safety. And if it wasn't for the worst day of my life, I wouldn't have written 3 books, I wouldn't run a multi-million-pound business, I wouldn't be a motivational speaker.
Some of my most successful endeavours were motivated by the worst days of my life.
Right. And
does that not get back to one of the things when I was saying earlier on, when I said, why do you like the summer? Why do you like the summer? Or why do people like the summer?
Winter's brutal.
Yeah. There's got to be that.
Wow, I get it.
Yeah, there's always got to be, and that's why I believe that there's a karma, which we've discussed at length a couple of times, and I believe that you can't take something out unless something goes back in. That is the only ways that we challenge ourselves. If you're not at the bottom, then you don't know what the top is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what happens with people is when you get a level of success, they get too comfortable, and when you get too comfortable, you get lazy, right? And this is the
believe
thing.
that?
100%. You get comfortable, you get lazy, you start to fall apart.
So it's just as important to stay hungry.
You have to stay hungry.
What's the difference? What's the fine line there?
Loosely. So I'm not hungry anymore, right? But one of the things that I realise is when you first start a business off, for instance, when I started my first business off, I had no money for advertising, I had no money for website, I had no money for creative design, nothing. All I had as a business tool was my brain. When you start making money in business, that's the last business tool you use. You start throwing money at problems. Now, what I suggest to people is is rather than I lost my way. Funny, I lost my way. In life,
sometimes you do though, Brad, don't you?
Absolutely. And actually, nobody wakes up and says, you know what, I'm going to go and fuck up today. But occasionally we do. But a mistake's what a mistake. After the event, up until that point, it's the correct decision.
But isn't that not the reason what it holds us back for? Because a lot of people have dreams and aspirations, but they're that scared that they don't actually do them. They'd rather stop at a mundane average number 5 rather than try and get to number 10.
It's a lot easier not to try.
It's a lot easier not to try.
I also think that people's dreams are too big, and as a motivational speaker, that might sound counterintuitive, but if you want a dream, look, not everyone can be Alan Sugar. Not everyone can be Richard Branson, right? If I think about me and my life, let's say Alan Sugar and Richard Branson on a scale of 1 to 10 of 10, right? If I think about my life, I've probably been a 2 out of 10 in terms of on the dole, addicted to drugs and so forth. And now in my life, I've got my life in order, so on a scale of 1 to 10, it's a 6 out of 10, right? In terms of the Alan Sugar scale, but it's a 10 in my world. I'm quite happy in my world. I'm never going to own a private island. I'm never going to own a private jet because I've stopped pushing. Right? And this is the thing, you end up chasing shit that you don't really want. I see so many people chasing shit that they don't really want to appease and to appeal to other people. They don't give 2 fucks about them.
But then we were speaking about society earlier on, and it's the lifestyle, what you sold out there.
Totally.
So you sold this, you're in the money trap. And once you're in the money trap, it's hard to get out because everybody gets caught in the money trap. Once they have a family, once they have kids, they get a mortgage, they got credit cards, you're watching MTV, everybody lives in big big houses and everybody's Kim Kardashian.
Rented.
And even my friend here, Joel, when you turned around and you said, in America, you've got a saying, which is...
you fake it till you make it.
You fake it until you make it. We live in a world where that is a saying.
If I was a real estate agent and I walked up to you and I had no car and I just rode my bike up to you to try and sell you a house, that means I've never sold a house to anyone before. So would you take me serious? So I go and I rent a Mercedes just for the day, so that when I meet you, I look established.
Wait a minute. So where's that fine line? Where's that fine line from saying, I am the UK's #1 motivational speaker because you said?
Yeah.
What is the fine line?
I am, if I think about my journey, if I'd not said I'm the UK's #1, if you go on Google and type in the UK's #1 motivational business speaker, right, you've got 20 or 30 Google pages with me on there. I've been booked as a result of that. The NHS booked me, JCB booked me as a result of seeing that thing. So somewhere along the way, now here's the thing. If I would have tried when I first started speaking, say 10 years ago, and I would have called myself that, I'd have been a laughing stock because I couldn't back it up. So do not turn around and say you're the UK's #1 mixed martial artist, the heavyweight division, unless you're prepared to get a punch in the mouth and back it up. So there's a time and there's a place, and I could not have said I'm the UK's #1 motivational business speaker any time earlier. And I started doing it about 2 years ago. I couldn't have done it any earlier. So there's a time and there's a place that you need to start convincing yourself.
But that obviously, like you said, is all about confidence. We've come full circle again, and it's about knowing the right time. Time being the most important commodity, everybody knows that, who speaks to me, and knowing that right time, to have the confidence to come forward and saying, yes, I'm ready, I'm going to do this now, I'm going to have that lifestyle change, I'm going to meet these people, I'm going to do it.
So that bit what you just said then about time being the most valuable commodity, people think that's a load of shit, and I'll tell you the reason why. People think it's a load of shit until it's in your last dying breath. And I'll give you an example so that people can understand quite clearly how time is the most valuable commodity. If I was selling extra days of your life now for £1,000, how many would you want?
As many as I could.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't buy them. If I said to you, go and give me 10 grand now, you wouldn't do it. But if it was your last day, you'd buy as many as you could.
Yeah.
But most normal people wouldn't do that.
My last 10 hours.
Oh, your last 10 hours, as many as you
Because I don't know how long that's going to be.
Correct. But we all assume that we've got unlimited time.
So then I've often proposed this question to myself a few times. Wouldn't it make it much easier if everybody knew what day they died from when they were born?
No,
Or is,
a lot of people can't handle it.
Not exactly. So that is the whole thing. That's how you get caught in the money trap, because of the unknown. You've got to get insurance. You've got to get this. You've got to buy that. You've got to save money. Everything is the money trap. The money trap is based on the unknown, because everything would be easy if you could figure out the day that you died. Then you could plan everything and spend everything to that day.
Let me tell you. So my wife wants to pay off my mortgage or our mortgage faster, so she's paying an extra dough each year, each month to get it paid off, so it'll be paid off in 8 years' time. And I said to her, why the fuck are you doing that? She said, well, because security and that, and we don't know where we are at this time.
The day you pay.
Mate,
This is the point.
Mate, but I said to her, listen, if we knew that I only had 1 year left on this world, would you be paying the mortgage off? She says, no. I said, what would we be doing? We'd be travelling the world, we'd be doing this. It's why are we waiting? What are we waiting for?
That's the type of stuff I like.
No, but people, why wait? And then that applies
No, but
to
the whole thing, it's like that saying, isn't it? I'm saving it for a rainy day. When the
fucking mate.
When's the rainy day?
Mate,
The sun comes out.
There's a story.
It's a rainy day.
There's a story that I wrote in one of my
Spend
books.
it now.
Spend it in the UK. It rains every day. Even in the summer, in July, it rains.
There's a guy that I know who worked all his life on the tools at Ford. He put into a pension pot probably £100,000, £200,000. Due to retire on his 65th birthday to enjoy his retirement. He died 3 days before he's due to retire. So his pension pot.
Nobody got that.
No,
Except for the
half of
people who were paying.
it. Well, half of it goes straight away to back to the company, and half to his wife. Wouldn't it have been better rather than putting 200 grand into pension pot? Going, you know what? Why don't I spend this on holiday and actually? But people, I don't know. You know what? Sorry, Steve. It's so important. You need to be at that point when you're going to lose everything for you to realise how important today is.
Or to let or to be able to realise how to let everything go. So there's a guy in India. There's a guy in India who's held his arm up in the air. Have you seen that guy? He's held his arm up. You can Google it, guys. He held his arm up in the air for 28 years, and he's held it up that long in his devotion to God or whatever, you know, to his sacrifice to life. It's no just, it's rigid.
An act of dedication.
Yeah, but now it's stuck. And people are looking at him. At first glance, people say, well, that's just stupid. But you can't take nothing from him. He doesn't have anything. He doesn't have any possessions, any belongings. He has sacrificed all. Now that's an extreme case. But at first, but he's laughing at the person who drives past him with the Rolexes on and the Ferraris and everything. That's the opposite end of the scale. There's nothing you can take away from
You
that
also
guy.
need to consider the state of mind. If you understand that this person really has never gone through a Rolex or he's never seen a Bentley, he could care less.
Absolutely.
And then you have other people who are established or raised in a more civilized type of place where their society itself
You're trying to
becomes
say
a
that,
vicious
right?
society becomes a vicious circle, and then it starts to pump you with all of these things where you think you need that Rolex and that Lamborghini.
So what you're trying to say is Indian society less civilized?
No, him in particular.
So I'm going off here.
What?
Gum shield, guys.
Don't go feeding fires that we don't need to start. All I'm saying is that I was using an example.
Hey, we're gonna have a
Now,
ref stoppage in a
you
minute.
wanna start-
Seriously,
You want to
come
make
on.
this a political campaign?
Seriously?
Yeah, let's make it.
No,
Well, can I just say it's probably better a political one than the fighting one, which from what I understand, you being in a face look's not a great look. Anyway, back on subject, fellas.
today, yeah.
But you know something about this whole thing? I'll tell you a story. So when I was skint, I was on the dole. A friend of mine tipped up at my house. He had a Rolex, a Rado watch, 1,500 quid I think it was, gold and black. And I remember every time, can I try it? And I put it on. It was amazing. I was like, wow. One day I want one of those Rado watches. So when I had my business and it started going well, I went to the Rado shop and I went there and I went, right, I don't have my money. That one, a black and gold or gold. I'm just gonna have a walk around. I'll be back and suss out which one. I never went back. I didn't want a fucking Rado watch. Right, what it is when the thing that you want, whether it's a car, whether it's a woman, whether it's you know,
What you can't have.
right, and actually the thrill of it falls away when you can afford it. You know, that handbag, the watch, the car, whatever you want.
So the quicker you get to that feeling, the better.
The quicker you get out of
Yeah,
it.
the point of like, let it go.
Right.
Just like quick, like nothing
but
bothers me.
equally-
Nothing in life. It's I can get through all these things without having them.
I'm heavily involved in the Monets. I wanted the art. I wanted the rims. I wanted the cars. I wanted everything. Then I got the baddest bitch in the game, and then I had a baby. And the only thing I'm thinking about is making sure that I am good to that baby. Nothing else ended up mattering. But now you replaced everything with something. He didn't just decide that. He made the choice.
But let me just explain
because of
something.
something now that matters to him more than anything else.
But this is the thing, how much is enough? And I always ask people to ask that question, how much is enough? And that applies to every element of your life. You know, I realise something, that I'm not world class. Right, in the speaking game, I'm not world class. I'm not turning around and saying I'm the UK, sort of the worlds or the globals, right? No, but I'm not world class. And so many people keep pushing beyond their ability. You know, if you'd have said to me 10 years ago, Brad, this is where you're going to get booked by these guys for thousands of pounds, you're going to have free books, you can do this, that, and the other.
human drive, though.
But my goal that I had 10 years ago, I've surpassed it, right? So what do? Go and get bigger goals. Why? For what purpose? You know, I don't need to achieve anything.
And you have all the right to be content, but at the same time, if other people want to continue pushing, just to see what they're truly capable of. Because right now we're talking about what we could do physically, but if we were really to concentrate on what we could do mentally, then we could start going to that elemental state, and then that's a whole other conversation. But
listen, if
It is.
You know, as ambition, from an ambition perspective, as I said before, have I run out of ambition or have I run out of ability? Because one of them has run out, right? One of them has run out, but I want for nothing. The thing that I had a nervous breakdown 4 years ago as a result of pushing. I pushed and pushed and pushed to the point where I unravelled mentally. And you can't run away from your head. And it took me 2.5 years to rebuild from that. And the great thing about deconstruction is you get the opportunity to rebuild. You know, when you have kids and do a Lego house, if you then take all the bricks and start again, you do it differently.
Yeah, you do it better.
Absolutely. And that's what I've done. And I've realised something, that the reason
When you do that type of thing, yeah, and you reevaluate, you end up with stronger foundations.
no question.
I'm in my
In your
30s
life.
and I've already rebuilt the same company 3 times, and it just keeps getting better and better.
My life was like a game of Jenga. You know, a game with wooden blocks and this big tower of success, and people said, well, look what you've achieved, Brad. One block, the whole thing would have gone to shit. And now where I'm at right now is I've just got this wonderfully serene, balanced Jenga building. I'm just not interested in having this tower where it could all go to shit. I'm just not.
What else have you got to say?
I haven't gone through the nervous breakdown, so I'm really excited to try and get as much as I can before I do.
That's good that you come back with something brilliant there.
You know, I
And
hear
I
as
mean,
much
no
in.
disrespect, because at the same time, like, a lot of people want gold. They want gold and gold and gold. And then once you get the gold and you lose someone you care about, the only reason you wanted the gold was for someone that you cared about. The gold doesn't matter anymore. You found purpose in other things that mean more to you.
What you just said then, something I wrote in one of the books. I see people drowning with a pair of gold bars, trying to pursue the Instagram lifestyle, the fucking Rolex, all this shit, when actually they can't even afford the rent. Fucking stop. Get rid of the gold fucking bars, deconstruct yourself, and but deconstruct yourself on your terms rather than when circumstances mean that you've got no option.
You can't follow everyone else's path. You can't find your own.
So true, so very true.
Just because you're social media famous doesn't mean I can't be, but at the same time I shouldn't just be doing it because I think you did it. I should be doing it because I know.
Then one of the things what you ask yourself is, you can plan as much as you want, but somehow you do find out that doors open and doors close, but because that door closed, it opened another two.
No question.
But it's being able to understand that type of theory. The reason that what we spoke about today, the fact you've got a couple of mutual friends.
You don't need to understand it, you just need to accept it, because it happens.
But the dots only join up after the event.
It happens.
The dots
keep joining up. For me, the dots keep joining up more and more. If someone tell me what is the recipe for the way you've ended up in your lifestyle, I couldn't tell you exactly. I couldn't say A to B, this is what happened. But what I do believe is that I had a positive mental attitude, and because you've got a positive mental attitude, you can push, you attract more things, you push onto more things as the door closes. I don't get upset about that door closing. I think of it as two doors will open behind us, and it's being able to see that type of thing. The whole the fact that we're sitting here speaks for itself. The fact that we have a couple of mutual friends.
Like for example, the new generation, the millennials are starting to realize that. Nothing against religion, but at the same time, instead of praying for something up there, start putting your own energy into your own brain power. Think about what you want to do.
Can I just say something?
Don't wait for somebody to do it for you. Just go for it. Like, I didn't expect to have a perfect job. I remember going to school and I filled in all the information the system wanted me to answer, and it said that I was going to be a surfboard maker because I like to go to the beach. I've never surfed in my life.
But the computer said that.
The computer told me.
The computer says no, or the computer says yes, that's it.
So when I graduated, I went to school. I was going to be an elementary school teacher. That sucked. Then I was like a drafter because my father was a draftman. Everything went to AutoCAD, so I didn't feel like drawing anymore. Everything was mathematical on the computer. Then I tried graphic design, and I noticed my school teacher was a painter that was a substitute for the graphic design class. And I'm paying other people money to teach me something that I could go learn by myself on YouTube. So that's what I did. I went home, I Googled the stuff I wanted to learn, and I'm a self-made, self-taught photographer, and I'm somewhat successful. I shoot in 13 different countries, all because of what I wanted, not because...
You self-made, self-taught motivational speaker.
So, no question. Listen, I'm forged that I steal in that actually my life. You're not born as a motivational speaker, but the things that have happened in my life have made me...
mold you into that.
But what I'm doing now is I'm making a positive difference. My life is as content and as serene as it's ever been. Although saying that, what was interesting about that religion thing is I've just come across, not me, but one of my close family members has a health scare right now, which is down to a 50-50, right? And I've done everything that I can possibly do to make this right, but ultimately it's down to a flip of a coin now, whether it goes my way or not. And I'm not religious, yet I found myself praying 2 days ago.
Yeah, that does happen. That's a question. That does happen.
Because I've seen myself, like, I'm sending the energy. Because remember, a thought is a vibration. And for every action, there's an equal amount of reaction.
Listen,
so when you're sending these vibrations, these thoughts,
I think
they're going to come back.
I think, what I find is when I've prayed, I've probably prayed four times in my life. I'm not religious, right? Is that when you've run out of everything else, all you've got left is hope. Because sometimes that's all you've got left is hope.
And that's what makes us human.
Correct. And that's the bit that you should always hold on to.
What happens when you give up?
Oh, that's
then you have to find someone in your circle to help you have hope again.
To put it around.
And this is where we come into it.
That's where your friends.
We're selling confidence. Mm-hmm. And with that, I'll have to wrap it in.
Hey, pleasure. Well, we enjoyed that.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, very much so.
We'll have to make it some other time.
Yeah, definitely.
It's imperative that your social media game's on point.
Yeah.
Do you think that's as important as what people would think it is? Do you think if you're not on Twitter, you're not on Facebook, you're not on all that good stuff, and you're not making regular YouTube videos, or do you think it's just more about just being that talented?